Gas station log, March 22nd, 2018. Woke up at about 8:48 for some reason today. Very early. Woke up, worked on a video that I recorded the night before. You know, it's amazing how I've needed to get my sleep schedule back on track, and God managed to work it out, and I don't know that I necessarily did anything specifically to obtain it. It just kind of happened. I'm going to bed earlier now, about midnight, 1 o'clock at the latest, and I'm waking up, well, shoot, anywhere between 8 and 10, and I still have enough time to get up, do things, drink a cup of tea, go back to bed, and get a little bit more sleep before I go to work. Alright, well, so now it's time to go to work, and I got myself a sandwich and some coffee from The Grind. Let's do the gas station.
Yay, buddies, I'm in my box. Yay, buddies. Mew, mew, mew. So, yeah. Here we go. I might have... Tomorrow's my day off, but I might have to work tomorrow, so we'll see. It depends on... It depends. So, I might have to work tomorrow. But, we'll be alright. Yay, buddies. Well, here we go. Let's start our fun day. Yay, fun day. Gas station log. It is 3:12. 13. Yeah, 3:13. So, I was just reminded, it's crazy how you can dream about things. And you're like, yeah, I think I had a dream last night. But I didn't remember what it was until I saw a picture of Sam. Isn't it weird how you dream about stuff and you can't remember it at all until one thing triggers it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I totally remember what I dreamt about. Yeah, I dreamt that me and Sam were hanging out, and he was about 17, 18, 19, 20. He was like late in adolescence, essentially. And we were hanging out, and we're actually hanging out, spending time together, having father and son time. And oh yeah, I remember the specific thing that I got out of the dream. I remember I felt like God was showing me the value of spending time with your kids, and how every moment with them matters, and how you, when you miss spending time with your kids, that's what you'll think of. You'll think of those little times where you did little things, unimportant things, but because they matter. And I'm like, wow, that is a really interesting thing for God to show a guy. You know, here I am, I'm, 39. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be 40 in a couple of months. And I don't even get to see Sam, my son. But yet God chose to show me that and let me experience the time, the valuable time that you can spend with your kids in a dream. I got to experience that as if it were real in a dream. And he taught and he showed me how important that is in a dream. And I'm just like, wow. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I really do. I hope that someday Sam and I will have the opportunity to spend time together and do things like father and son. I honestly believe that day's coming, so we'll see. What is it? He's gonna be 7 this year, I think? Wow. Gas station log. 3:46. Just in case you guys didn't know, I realized I kind of went into that description about Sam without really explaining who Sam is, because a lot of you don't know. Sam is my son that I had to give up for adoption in 2011. situation was on Halloween in 2010. I was invited to a Halloween party in Lincoln, Illinois, and I lived in Bloomington at the time. I'd been about 5 months into my apartment that I had gotten in July of 2010 in Bloomington, that house. And I met a girl there, and she just kind of threw herself at me, and I could smell danger. The moment she did it, I could see that she was a vulture. But for some reason, I felt compelled to explore it. We agreed to meet up that next day, and I drove down to Lincoln. It's about a half-hour drive from Bloomington to Lincoln. And we went out, and I brought her back to my house, show her my house, whatever. And so many red flags that I just totally ignored. One of them being that she didn't want to go home. She just seemed to want to stay. And so, despite my better judgment, there were a lot of errors in judgment with this girl, but she didn't want to go home, so I let her stay, and she stayed the night, and pretty soon, the next thing I know, she's living with me. And about 2 or 3 weeks, about 2.5 weeks into this relationship, she was having stomach cramps or something like that, so I took her to the ER. And sure enough, she's about 2 weeks pregnant. It is my suspicion that she probably conceived the first or second night that she was there. And I justified the relationship to people that wanted to call me out on my sin. There was a lot of wisdom that was lacking. And I was partially blinded by the fact that, hey, I'm in a relationship with a girl. It had been quite a while since I'd been in a relationship with a girl, and so I was, happy to plunge myself into it. But I basically justified it as saying, well, we're supposed to love people unconditionally, and this is a perfect opportunity for me to love her no matter her faults the way that Jesus loves us. And I convinced myself that it would be self-righteous and judgmental of me to end this relationship based on those factors. I felt like I would be the Bible-thumping guy who's saying, no, you need to get out of this relationship. You can't be in a relationship like this. It is not allowed because it's sinful. End of story. Cut and dry. And so I chose to ignore that, and so needless to say, she was pregnant, and our relationship continued for about another 2.5 months until I caught her in a huge lie, which revealed to me that she'd been lying to me about everything she'd ever told me. So needless to say, I broke up with her and paid a friend of hers to come, gas money to come pick her up and take her back to her house. And after that, I don't know what happened. I don't know what she did. All I know is I got a call from Bethany Christian Services out of St. Louis, and that they had been brought in because the mother wanted to give the child up for adoption. And so, they had to break the ice with me. It was like, they say that you're the father. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess. And, because nobody ever knows what to say to a situation like that at first, so you kind of go in easy and feel out, what these people are all about and whatnot. Meanwhile, I had been praying the whole time that, if this child were to come to term, I'd been praying that I wanted to give him up for adoption, and because obviously I couldn't take care of a kid. I had no job. I could barely pay my bills. God was having to pull out this and that just so I could get by, and there's no way I could have handled a child. And I wanted what was best for him, so I'd been praying, God, just line it up and set the situation up so that he can be raised by people that love and walk with you, so that he can grow up knowing you and walking with you. And that was my prayer. So here it is, it's about June, or May or June, they're contacting me, and so I met with a few of their representatives, and met with the prospective parents that they had lined up, and part of the agreement is that the mother basically didn't want to have anything to do with the process. Once they were talking to me, she just wanted to drop out and disappear. So basically I handled all the arrangements with them. They introduced me to this couple that had been unable to have kids themselves, and they felt that God was leading them to adopt. She showed me pictures of the room that they were putting together for a baby that they might be able to adopt, and they wanted to name him Samuel, after the prophet Samuel in the Bible, who was born to Hannah, who was unable to conceive children, and she cried out to God, "Please give me a son and I will dedicate him to you." And I was instantly grabbed by that, because, to be honest, Samuel and the prophet Samuel and King David are two of my favorite characters in the Bible. I first read through the books of Samuel when I was 17, and it was in a season of life for me. I was at that ranch in California, and it was the first time I'd ever read the books, and it just struck me as, I don't know, I felt like I connected with these stories, and I just loved those stories. I loved those characters, and I loved how they sought to be one with God. David is said to have would be a man after God's own heart, and I have always aspired to that. I want to be a man after God's own heart. And the prophet Samuel he was like the untouchable. He was so tight with God that, like, you couldn't get him to sway, and I've always identified with that. And when she told me that she considered her a baby that they would be able to adopt to be like that, it just struck home with me, and I realized these are the people that God has sent me to adopt my son. And ever since, it's been wonderful. They raise Sam to know Jesus, and he grows up in a Christian home. He's a pastor, and I've listened to his sermons, and they're really good, on point. I love these people, and I love the job that they're doing with Sam. And it blows my mind that God would answer that prayer. And back to my main point, it blows my mind. What amazes me about the situation is that God, it was never about me. It was never about the girl I brought home, and it was never about our sin, but yet God chose to, and here comes somebody else. Wow, busy. Okay. So, it was never about any of that. It was simply that God chose to use this situation, and why he chose to use this situation and to use us, I have absolutely no idea. But he chose to use this situation to bring Sam into the world for these people that adopted him. And when you start pondering the fact that God creates all of us in the womb to be exactly who he wants us to be, using genes and whatever, like, it's absolutely baffling and humbling that he would have used me and this girl to create this child for these people. It's just absolutely mind-blowing that God chose to use me and this girl and our sin to bring Sam into the world for these people that adopted him. And it's humbling to think that God chose you in your sin for something like this. Yay, buddies! I was just thinking about Sam because he's my little Sammy buddy. Yay, little buddies! Mew, mew, mew. Yeah, just in case, I don't know if you remembered, if any of you were at my wedding, Sam was actually there. He was the ring bearer, and I don't know if you knew that was him or made the connection, but yeah, that's my little Sammy. He's my buddy. Yay, little buddies!
I mean, look at this. He looks just like me, but cuter.
Gas station log. It's 4:55. It's almost 5 o'clock. I got me a drink, because these are yummy. I hate that Starbucks makes them, because I don't like Starbucks. I don't like the company. I don't like giving them my money. But man, those things are awesome. You know, I actually discovered Monster. I usually don't like energy drinks at all. And they've got this, it's like Monster coffee flavored energy drink. And I don't like it because it tastes too much like an energy drink. But they actually put out in glass bottles coffee drinks. And Monster makes it. And they are amazing. I haven't seen any around here, but I saw some in Berea about a week or so ago. I'm gonna have to get me some more of those because they're freaking amazing. I just feel run down today. Hopefully this helps. Gas station log. It is 5:43. I just feel tired and run down today. I don't know why. This is not helping. It's funny how when you dream about something and it leaves this emotional impact on you the whole day. Yay, Sammy, you're my little buddy. Yay, buddies. Mew, mew, mew. Gas station log. It is 6:07 p.m. and it's a nice day. It's a little chilly, but it's a really nice day today. I don't know why I can't shake this tired, rundown feeling. 2 more hours on my shift and then I gotta go home. And hopefully I will have tomorrow off, but I may not. I may need to come in and cover somebody. Gas station log. 6:37. I just had a guy come try to buy gas, and he's like, I want $10 in gas and a pack of L&Ms. And then he gave me his card, and it declined it when I ran it as credit. And so I tried to run it as debit and asked him to come over to the window and tell me his PIN, and he gave me a PIN, and it declined it. I don't know, said ineligible transaction. I don't know what that means. So I tried running his credit again in front of him, and it didn't work, and he was just angry, and he's like, well, you don't know how to run that thing right, and blah, 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 blah. So I ran it right in front of him. I ran it both ways, like 2 different ways as credit, and, ran it as debit, and it did decline his card. Like, basically, that was what it was come down to. Like, and he got mad because his card was declined and tried to make it sound like I didn't know what I was doing. But, so, yeah. So he left and he was mad. Poor guy. I haven't figured out if he honestly didn't know what was going on or if he was trying to scam me. Nobody gets quite so upset as somebody trying to scam you that gets caught. My head, I swear, I feel like I'm swimming in crap today. I can't seem to get out of it. I mean, I feel okay. My head is just... I don't know. Yep. Got an hour and a half left on my shift. Yay, buddies! Me, me, me. Me, me, me. Yay, buddies! Whee!
Ugh. Starbucks. They hate Christians and worship a pagan goddess. Heathens. Gas station log. It is 7:40 and look at the sun's still up. That's amazing. Gas station log. Final entry for March 22nd. Oh, it is 7:58 and it's about time to go. And I just feel tired and fatigued and I just never got over it. Ugh. Well, thoughts on the day. Have we learned anything today? Time spent with your kids is precious and invaluable. Don't forsake a moment that you've spent with your children pouring into them. You may not see it, but it has value and it means something, even if that value doesn't become apparent until years later. And with that, it's time to call it an end to this day. From all of us, to all of you out there, Jesus loves you, God bless, and good night. That totally sounds like Bob Ross.